Apparently, we have to.
Welcome to the stream, everybody. I'm Frank Boucher, your host, and for the next 1 hour and a half, 19 full minutes, I'm with another Cloud Advocates, and I'm the other way. Introducing Maxime Rouiller. Welcome, Max, on the show for the second time. How are you?
Feeling good. Feeling good.
Feeling good?
Feeling good. I mean, we're going to do more Azure functions, and even better is going to be durable functions, which always makes me feel good. So, yeah, and I got, for everyone that was going to stay until the end, I got a little surprise, so it's going to be fun.
Oh, teasing already? Good.
Yeah. Let's call it a surprise. Here you go.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, so let's recap super fast. Oh no, I think we plan to have a recap to bring everybody up to speed, right?
All right. Did we plan a recap? I can.
Yes.
I can go back through. I can go back through the code and
In my show
explain a little
note,
bit
there
what
was
we're doing.
recap, hook, application insight, and deploy to Azure.
So you want me to do recaps?
Yeah.
Okay.
A summary
I can.
or whatever.
I can do recaps. I mean, I'm bad at recaps, but I can try.
You want me to share your screen, or do you want to go and?
Yeah. Why not? You know what? Like, let's share the screen. Let's see where we go with that.
Okay.
Let's hope my webcam this time does not just keep on resizing all the time.
I fixed that.
Oh, okay.
I did my research.
Magic.
Yep.
That shall be called from now on magic. All right, so let's see what I can see on the screen. And okay, so I will have to keep everything above line 42. All right, so around here, like this is visible, this is not. Okay, so last time, what did we do? First, we kind of explained what is durable functions, right? So we went through the existing durable function, what it is and what it's not. We managed to set environment variables on how to get a personal access token. We created a GitHub client, and we set up kind of this fan in, fan out pattern that you can do in Azure Functions. So if we look at all those little different things here, we have our Mr. Smoofy. Is Mr. Smoofy back? Like, I'm wondering if those previous users are still there. I don't see Mr. Spoofy. Mr. Smoofy, sorry. So those were named after users that were here. So we have a start our orchestrator, and that orchestrator is basically the main conductor for all of our process. So we have this thing here that calls the list of activities. It will return all the repositories that are available for our application, and then we're going to loop through all those repositories one by one, and we're going to get all the old issues that are a little bit too older. Like, so this is let me wait. There's just a little bit of dust in my mouse. Sorry, dust in the mouse is always bad. So Michael, the frustrated dev, get older issues. So for each repository, we would get all the older issues, and we would wait for all of them to complete. And then once we have all the good result, we would make a sum of all of those, and we would just return it. And those are just the repositories itself, where the actual method that do the work. Does that sound fair enough?
Yeah.
So the last time, if I remember it right, we just did F5 locally, and it took like forever. And so what I want to do today is I want to take the chance of using Azure and using this amazing thing that is scaling out. You know, the thing that my computer cannot do all by itself. Because
Max.
Yeah.
We're getting raided.
We're getting raided?
Raided, exactly. By Visual Studio with a little party of 94!
No!
That's
94.
We're just getting started, so welcome everybody.
Oh
welcome,
my god,
Raiders.
raid. Yeah.
So
my God,
Max is
right.
just warming up right now. We'll be
Yeah.
doing some Azure durable function, and it's part
In
2.
.NET.
So we're just and .NET. So we're just getting started. It was, kind of summarizing what we did at the last show, and yeah, so just in time, exactly.
Yeah, and yeah. Anyway, so I'm having fun here in the chat. I'm sorry about that. So all right. So for everyone that just rated, so we're gonna just re-go through what we did last time. We created this Azure function here that is durable, and we had this thing here that just do an HTTP start, and then it's gonna start the orchestrator, which is gonna be the conductor of all the things that we do. This simple function here will just return a list of repositories. From those repositories, we're going to get all the older issues compiled, and we have a result when we sum them all and just return. It's something super simple. But the last time what happened is we just did F5 and started running on my machine, and Amazon was not shipping machines fast enough. So basically I had to wait for my single machine to scale up, and which never happened. So now what we're going to do is we're going to push that to the cloud. Now the cloud already has tons of machines and it's going to be able to scale out properly. So we're going to be doing that. Is everyone okay with that?
They have no choice anyway, sir.
They have no choice, right? All right, so let's do that. And we had it a little tread sleep here just to make sure that we're not like tapping everything out. All right, so the first thing we're going to do, so there's two ways we could do this. We could either go through the portal and create our resources and start fiddling from there and having fun, and I don't know. I mean, we could go through the portal, but I mean, Visual Studio already offer us a good way to do it. So what we're going to do is just right click and publish. I don't remember if I already set it up, but we'll see if it works. All right. So we're going to publish this, and I think I already had something up. So what we're going to do, we'll see if this thing still exists even. Stream demo. Did I have that on my machine? So stream demo. Yeah, so I created it. So you know what? Let's just start from scratch, and we're gonna create a new profile. We're in a new application. We're gonna do it all over again, so that I can show people how to do it. So we're gonna pick Azure. We're gonna say next. Functions on Windows. That is fine. All right. I'm gonna publish my subscription. We can create any other kind of resources here. Just gonna wait for this to load up. All right. So once this list is loaded, what we're going to be able to see is the whole amount of different items that we have available. But we're going to want to create a new function, a brand new one. So we can call this one older issue parser. I'm going to create a new resource group, issue parser. We're going to keep it consumption. Well, so now you have three options, right? I mean, you can have consumption mode, which is the one that was always there. There's a premium one, and there's the app service plan. So what's the difference between all three? Well, app service plan is just like app service or the website or the web apps, whatever you want to call it. So basically you have this thing that is reserving some compute for you, but it's only going to be able to scale based on the amount of CPU or RAM or items in a queue, and it's going to take like a long time until it starts scaling. Consumption is using the Azure function consumption model, which is we can scale down all the way back to 0. So even though we can use 100 machines, we can scale that all the way down to 0, which is amazing because it's going to save you a whole bunch of money. And it also scales very quickly compared to app service plan. But the problem is it also scales to 0. And that's where premium is kind of like in the middle. Like you reserve at least one machine, but you can then scale to the consumption way without having like the app service plan. But we're going to be using consumption mode because we don't need more than that. And closer to East US, I'm going to be using this, and we'll need a new storage. So yeah, that's good enough. Let's make sure it's East US as well. And okay, and are we good? We're good. Create. So what's happening here in the back is we're going to be able to monitor this from the portal. Let's see, older issue. Let's see if it updates. Oh, it's the issue parser, right? Issue parser here in the resource group. So what Visual Studio is going to do is it's going to create this whole like bunch of resources here in the back that's going to happen. Do we have questions in the chat, by the way?
No, you have John that say hello. And
hey, John.
People are just saying that, if it works the first time, it's not a real presentation.
That's true.
Yeah, that's so how true. You know it's live. Otherwise, that part is removed.
Yeah, that's so true. Oh, God. So let's see if Visual Studio here is done. It's creating the app service. It is so true. All right. So this is still being created. So you're going to see a whole bunch of different stuff in there. So did I create that, or was that already there? Or I'm just crazy? I might be crazy. Yeah, I actually created.
Yeah.
I created the issue parser, and this one is already existing. So it's kind of, yeah. So Frenchie to Quebec is a teacher. So that's fun.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. So here's what's going to happen. Here, we're going to have this. It's still being created, by the way. So I think it's done. So let's finish. And what's going to happen is it's going to create this profile. And we're going to publish to that profile right away because I want this to be like uploading right away because I don't want to wait. So let's look at what was created behind the scene. So you have like those three here. Don't even think about it. They're just like remnant from an older test. So we have this storage, and we have this app service, and we have this app service plan. So the app service stands on top of the service plan. That service plan here is consumption mode. So it is literally just something that is made for Azure Functions. So there's no, you will see here Y1. There is no Y1 that you can pick anywhere in the portal. This is reserved for Azure Functions.
I have a question for you related to the service plan.
Yeah.
So why is the plan, the SKU or like the identifier for the plan when it's consumption based? So there's nothing specific when you want to use the durable function. It's the same thing. Like like a plan for like the regular function and a plan for the durable function is the same.
Yeah, exactly. So what you're planning for is for Azure Functions, because if we're looking into durable functions here, let's just look at durable functions, and we're gonna get a whole bunch of different results from Bing. And what I want is the GitHub repository for durable extension, and that's the thing, right? That's one thing that we covered, I think, in the previous stream. It's like if you're looking at durable function here, like it says really here, it is an extension. So it is an extension on top of Azure Functions, and that's one way that we can do with Azure Functions is you can extend it, and that's the way we're using it. When we want to support, for example, a new storage providers, or we want to support SQL, or when Cosmos DB was first launched, we wanted to support Cosmos DB, but we also wanted to be able to like not have to rewrite the whole thing. So we have this extension model that allows us to like create those triggers and those bindings and those things that interact with that service. So durable function is just that. It interacts with the service, but in a little bit more complex ways.
Cool.
Yeah. So you're not paying for durable function. You're just using Azure Functions.
No, my concern was like, maybe because they are running longer. You cannot use, like you need to use more on a plan, or like it's a different one, like not the consumption or something like that. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, no, that's the beauty of it, is that all the limitation that you have with Azure Functions is the same on Dribble Functions, and we've already planned all the different workaround, right? So when you want to have something that runs for longer, or you want to plan for longer, or you want to push files on a queue that is larger than you can push on a queue, we already like do those planning for you. So we're going to be able to like go into details, into the anatomy. We're going to dissect a durable function execution later in the stream, and that's going to be very cool.
Okay.
So right now, what we have here is the older issue parser. But the problem here is once we start that thing, it's going to keep on running, and we're not going to see what's going on. We're not going to get this CLI, like this thing that we had before on the stream, where you had this command window and that had this list of all the things that were running. We're not going to get that. So how do we get it? Application insights. That's like, there's no 25,000 answer here. There's only one, and you want to turn on application insight. And in fact, I would even say that if you're using Azure Function in any meaningful way, turning on application insight for the thing is the best thing you're going to do. So let's do create new resource. We're going to call this, the app insight. We're going to enable it, and we want to create a new resource. Yeah, that's what we want. So apply. Yeah.
I am very steady. I just realized my webcam is bugged.
Yeah, it is bugged. You've had like this very deadpan look. You haven't blinked in a few minutes, man. It's weird. Can anybody tell Frank to blink? Like, blink if you're in danger.
Back alive. I was like, wow, that's... It's a durable webcam. Yep.
Oh, that's amazing. All right. So what we just did, by the way, we just enabled application insight. Like 2-3 clicks, boom, we're done. So what does that give us? So let's go take a quick look at application insight, and we're going to keep that window up because we want this to be alive when we're running this. All right, so you're going to get the monitoring of everything that is going on in the back. So you're going to get like the failed request, the server response time, the server request, the availability. And by the way, the code that we wrote last session is pretty low quality, as in there are quotas on GitHub that I'm not respecting, that I'm not even attempting to respect. So we're probably going to hit that like very, very fast, and that's going to blow up in our face. So what we want to look at is the live metrics, and we're going to be able to like dig into all the failures and stuff like that after that. So now the application is technically offline. Why? Because we're in consumption mode. So there's no pre-reserved instances. There's no things that are live, and we just want to launch that at some point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this tab so that we can keep this alive, but I can also start moving to the URI for our function. So let's take a look. I'm also going to close this, but if you all guys want to, all you folks want to take a look at this, Dribble Functions, by the way, is also available for C#, for JavaScript, and Python is getting kind of there. Like there were still a few things, there were still a few bugs, but if you want to use Dribble Functions in Python, it's there. And PowerShell is still in planning, so it's probably going to be coming soon at some point.
Nice.
Yeah, and for PowerShell, that's it's a major thing. It's going to be interesting. All right, so let's go back to home, and we're going to get into our older issue parser here.
I never realized there was a duplicate tab, but up.
Yeah, and you can like do move tab to other windows and close all the tabs.
Yeah. Although the others I kind of knew, but not the duplicate. I don't know why.
All right. So if we ever get stuck on things like things are processing or compiling a kind of a situation, I'm going to show you other stuff that people might be interested about. All right. So my apologies. So that was our application. So just by using the URI, we should have this. Yeah, function app is up and running. Maybe the live metrics is going to connect now because we might have a server. And you will see it normally here at the bottom, like one server. The list of servers is going to be here. We have one server online. We have a server name with a GUID, which is very nice. But we don't have a lot. Like there was nothing here. So what we're going to do is we're going to append our URI here. So let's see what we have. I forgot completely what it was the name of all those functions. So there's a few tricks that we used in the past stream that I want to reiterate again. We're using name of, which is a C# construct that allows you basically to pick the name of this function and use it as a string. So you don't have to, for example, let's just do a simple trick here. You don't have to do that. You can just use name of. So whenever you rename this thing gets renamed as well. This is pretty cool. Because at that point, you don't have to like keep track of those magic strings everywhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this, and we don't have any parameters. We're not using any parameters. So we're going to just /API/Mr. Smoofy. Is Mr. Smoofy still there? Is he still alive?
I saw him the other day on a different stream. I don't know if it would be back. That would be nice if he's back.
That'd be fun because, I mean, I haven't seen anyone from that previous stream.
So for the one who don't know, we name our stuff based on last stream viewers.
Yeah. That was interesting. That was fun. I don't know. Is it the same content as the meetup later at 4 p.m.? I don't even know what's the meetup.
I don't know. It's another group.
Okay, so it's not me. We're good. I just making sure I'm not like scheduling meetups I'm not aware of. All right. So what's going to happen here? So I haven't pressed enter yet because that thing is going to start and there's no stopping it. And so what we're going to see, we're not going to be interested in this window. We're going to be interested in this one. So we're going to look at the servers. As you can see here, we scaled back down to 0. That's the power of consumption mode. So what we're going to do, we're back to 1. Somebody is using this, right? I'm guessing some people are hitting that page at some point. So we're gonna click on enter here, and this thing is gonna start, and we're gonna have a live log of things happening here on the right. We're gonna get the request rate. There is gonna start coming up here, the request duration, the failure rate, and dependencies. All those dependencies are going to be interesting for us in one way, is that we're going to use a lot of storage. And the problem here that we need to be aware of is Drupal functions is not using anything esoteric. It's still using the basic Azure storage to do most of its operation. So things like table storage, blob storage, and the queues are what is being used in the back. And those are dependencies. So if we see that they're the dependency call rate, this is the things that is going on here. It's going to be like, how many times are we calling storage? How long is it taking to call storage? And how many times do we even fail at it? Because that's going to happen for sure.
People are complaining about your names.
Yeah, my name is rubbish, and I agree, Brett. This is totally rubbish. It kind of worked, but that was just a prefix. The suffix here, HTTP start, is the one that matters. Just like everything else here in the code. If we're going into code, you will see here orchestrator, get all repositories. Like the prefix is just rubbish. I agree. All right, so we're gonna start. We're gonna look at the metrics, and we're gonna see how that thing burned down. And I want you to look at the amount of servers that we have and the request rate.
Can you
and
zoom?
I hope this
Maybe
thing
it will
doesn't...
help to see the number of server.
Maybe.
Are you
Let's
at 125 now? Yes?
Yeah, I'm at 125.
Yeah,
now.
if you zoom bigger than that, then it will look bad.
Yeah. So did we... Oh, okay, so this thing crashed. Here's something that we need to be aware of, is that this is dependent on our GitHub token that we set up here, right? And I did not sync it. So let's just manage the app service settings, and I will do it off screen because I don't want people to get my token. Like, this is
you
not
don't need to just
I
not show your screen?
No, I'm fine.
We're not sharing your screen anymore. Let me know when you want it back.
GitHub.
Well, I can see it, but I will pretend that I'm not watching.
Don't worry, you're not seeing anything. I'm off the shared screen right now, so it's gonna be fine.
He doesn't know that, but I can see anything. Oh, you still hear me? Sorry. What was it? Was it thinking loud?
was I thinking it too loud? Let me see. GitHub streaming token, copy value. There you go. The remote. And okay. So is it good? There you go. So now it should work.
So we share.
Yeah, you can share again. So that should be taking a while.
So Brett's saying,
oh,
I mean, I was there last time. If you, no, I was there last time if you were naming things after previous attendee, but my name is a rubbish name for a function app.
Nice. I think we could actually do a play of word on it or something like this, like, because there's IT at the end, so there's it something. We could do some funny things with it.
Brett,
right,
I will invite you on the show, and you will be able to name whatever the thing, how you like them. How's that as a deal?
All right, let's try it out again. Is this thing on? Testing the mic. All right, so we have something. So this thing hit. Last 60 seconds. Oh yeah. So now it is starting to pop off. So we get all those dependencies, like those problem here, and you're gonna get dependency failures, the request failure rate. This is where our code starts to just being blown away, and we're just one server in. And I'm gonna keep this thing like failing hard because, I mean, why not? But we're using the HTTP status response here for Dribble function. So basically, you can just take this URL and you can just go to it, and you can see the current state of this specific Dribble task, of this specific Dribble functions. How is this orchestrator? Well, at first it's in a failed state and it just crashed, and there's an exception here, like request forbidden abuse detection. And that's one of the things you have to be aware of, is that when you're running things on the cloud, you can explode things that are rate limited quite easily. And as you can see here, we were like doing very good amount of servers per second, like good requests per second. We were at 4 servers, which was kind of nice. But then things started failing, and yeah. So what happened? I want to go through a little bit of the application inside here, just kind of see like how can we debug a little bit like those functions.
That was not part of the Max. Can we pause just for a few seconds / a minute?
Yeah, sure, go.
Okay. I was waiting. I was holding it just before because I wanted to see like when the stats were coming in. But we have a great question from Moshito 777. I was saying it in French. Good. Who's asking, what is Azure? I'm a bit confused. So do you want to go for it, or should I go?
I
will go
can go
because
at it.
now you make it look like it's complicated. Azure is the Microsoft cloud. So in Azure, there's like 200, 300 different services, and there are different kind of services. You could have some VM, some databases, some AI and artificial intelligence. You have some web app. So like when you want to host a website, but without having all to manage the VMs, you could have some service like the serverless. So like you're not even managing any, like it auto scaling and all those things. So the function and the durable function are part of that serverless family with other services, but we're just trying to keep things easy there. And there's also like fully service, let's say just to keep an example, just showing example, if you use the Gmail or the Outlook of those worlds, well, those are what we call SaaS, so service, software as a service. There's also option like that. So Azure, it's all those things, is the Microsoft cloud. And today we're talking about the durable function, and Max was showing us, like we're just trying to have an example that could be interesting. So we are digging inside the GitHub issues, try to extract information in like huge batch.
How is that related to blockchain? So there's no real relationship between Azure and blockchain like directly. Azure is just, it's your infrastructure, right? It's the roads and
I think it's because
the highways. It's the thing that you use, for example, computers, and to use bandwidth or stuff like that. Like if you need resources to host application or services or something, Azure can do it. So if you want to do blockchain, you can do it on Azure. It's just you're gonna have to.
If you want to know more about the Azure and blockchain, you will need to watch the next show later today. That's because I was answering to a question where, like, the next show later today is about Azure. It's the title of the show is Dive into Azure Blockchain Services. So there's different blockchain services, and not Bitcoin, but blockchain. So like more to that on that topic later, and like it won't be Max or myself presenting that. Right now we are presenting Azure Durable Function.
Yeah, so which is not exactly in the list of products because it is an extension to something that is here, which is Azure Functions. Yep. So we're talking about a scenario a little bit more complex than just serverless. All right, so let's go back. So we can see here that we had like a whole bunch of different errors, a whole bunch of different problems. We can even dive into the failures. Like there's a list of all the failures that we had in our application. And we can see here we had, well, a whole bunch of them. And we had a lot of abuse exceptions, which was all getting triggered by this operation. So we can drill into it and start looking into what are those different problems. And you will see if we take like any of them, really, it's not going to be, it's not going to be like that weird. We're going to get down in the details, and you can see here that there's a whole bunch of stuff that happened all in sequence, and we get like this repository at some point and we're like, abuse exception. So what happened is we basically hit the limit on GitHub, and GitHub was like, you're not being nice right now. It does not matter if you're using a token or if you're using anything else, you're not being nice. And even though in the previous video I was like, you know what, let's put like a 500 delay here just in case so that we can make it less hurtful. When you're on the cloud, it does not matter. So this code here is going to need to be refactored so that we can do those things a little bit better. But that's one way I wanted to show like how you can start to get more information on your function, right? Because there's so much stuff going on that like what even happened here. So that was the plan for a part of this stream. So what do you how many more time do we have, Frank?
We have about close to an hour.
We have close to an hour. All right.
Yeah,
so let's.
Yeah. We're just at 40, and we end at 30, so 50 minutes. If we spend more time in code, I would appreciate if you zoom just a tiny bit. I know I said it was okay before, but
133. Last offer.
That's good.
All right. So let's take a look at exactly what happened here on our execution. So I'm going to open up a different project. So everything that we did, we can take a look, for example, at our Storage Explorer. So let's do, this is a Storage Explorer that you can install. This of Electron, same thing that run.
Whoops, Max? Is it only me? Can you still hear Max? Okay.
Am I still alive?
Yes. You were... It was interesting. I don't know what you did explain, but like we didn't catch a word of it. Yeah, it was a bit robot. Are you still there? I'm not used to not seeing you moving, buddy. Are you still super slow, huh? What's happening? Let's do... Oh, my speed is super good. Yeah, but his screen is still good when he moves his mouse. And my speed on my side is... Yeah, I just did the test. My speed is good. Max? Yes.
Is this thing on?
Yes. So you're back?
Yeah, I think I was using too much memory, and that thing just like died, like an epic death.
I was worried. I'm not used to see you not moving and quiet. I was like, what's happening?
Yeah, like me not talking. Like, what's going on?
Exactly.
Really?
My God! I need sound effect here. I should have like, woo, alert.
Right. Alert, Max is off.
So I don't know if the chat lost you at the same time as I did. I'm assuming yes, since it was memory on your side. I have no clue what you're talking about in this window.
Okay, so I was opening up the Storage Explorer, which is based off VS, the same thing that runs VS Code, which is called Electron. We ran our function a few times. So I want to show you, I want to dissect a little bit what's going on in the back, because people are not necessarily aware of all those details. So let's go into in depth of what is going on. So every time we start our new orchestrator, you will get one of those lines. It's going to be linked to an execution ID. There's going to be a timestamp. There's going to be a name for the orchestrator that we start, the input, and a few more like the output. So here we can see that this one was the first one we tried, and this one just did not have the key and the token, and it just did not work. This one here ended up in a failure. So basically, if you want to see if something is alive or is dead, or the same result we saw earlier with the status, right? Let me open up the status again. You know, this thing here. This is the same, basically the same thing. We are getting the same output, the same custom status, which is not there. We're getting all those kind of things, and it's fine. Like, but what about the rest? What happened behind? So if you go into the parser history, and we're going to do a small thing here. We're going to take the partition key that is right here. Let me double click and get the partition key. We're going to go look into the history of our function. And we're going to get pretty much everything in the back. Let me let it load. So we have 654 items of things that started. And the thing is, we have the partition key here is going to vary based on the different ones. So I want to create a query where the partition key matches the one that I had earlier, the exact run that I had. So what you're going to see here is a whole bunch of everything basically that started. This is in order from the timestamp at the beginning all the way until this thing was done. So everything that we did generated about 645 events, from task being scheduled to task being completed, including the orchestrator. We get the name of the orchestration here that of the function is being scheduled. So we will see here, for example, that get all repositories come before they get older issues. And if we go at the end completely of this, we get a whole bunch of, well, first task fail, but there's a few that will be completed, and we get the result of our function. So there's a whole bunch of different stuff that are happening here, but it's kind of hard to see that way. So one of the things I'm working on this time, I'm not opening up a second Visual Studio because that was the cause of the root problem of everything else that I did before. So I'm working on this small project that I'm trying to make things better for everyone. So let me just remove a few things here and see if I can. And I'm aware those keys are going to be shared with the world, and it's going to be bad, and we're not supposed to do that. But you know what? I'm going to reset those after. Anyway, so older issue parser.
Frenchie's saying you should use VS Code to share other part instead of showing it in Visual Studio IDE.
Yes, I agree, except that I didn't try it in VS Code, and if it fails, it's going to be, yeah. Key, what's key? We didn't see any keys. Yeah, right. Yeah. Don't look at my keys, please. Everything is just
you're not running Azure Mask, buddy.
I know. The thing is, I don't want to run it right now because I actually need the keys. Let me just copy that, and
you can copy it without seeing it.
Yeah, but I'm gonna have to paste it here anyway. So let's just try it out, hope for the best, and hope that there's not 60 people that are just pushing stuff to my storage account. And anyway, I'm gonna recycle those keys right after. So, all right. So this will allow us to basically go to our application, see our orchestrator. The one that was 1D was the one that we were running it. G meter spread. Oh my God. So basically you get like this thing, right? That is the kind of things that I wanted to show. Because it allows you to basically visualize everything that happens on your functions. I feel that's the kind of thing that should be built into the product. That's the reason why I'm building it, is because I want to be able to see all those kind of things. And by the way, we're still zoomed at 125, I think. And like this thing, even if I let's do like 250. Like it's very small because there's literally a ton of stuff there. There's orchestrator being started on the first line and orchestrator being completed. That is because there is a whole bunch of them that are being started on the same machines. They're all going to be happening at the same time. But the fan out and the fan in pattern that we talked about, this massive list of green, all of this, that is our fan out. And each of those items correspond to a single item being added in a storage queue. Red and purple are when this task either completes or fails. So they're all happening all at the same time in different orders. And it's kind of like very pretty to look at. And that's kind of a way to visualize the same thing that I was showing earlier. All this list of items that is here, it's kind of visualized here instead. So, does that make more sense to people to understand a little bit what Drupal functions make? Like how it works? Or does not make any sense at all?
Well, I love it. Curious. Like, I love that chart, that's for sure. Like, it's fantastic, the visual it gives.
Right? I hope it is. Let me see if I can just do a little small zoom of just like this portion here and see if it just works. All right, like this thing here, you would get just those first four. You would get here, for example, to get all repositories and completing right there. Just before we actually start scheduling the rest. Would anyone be interested in looking at the different patterns that way? Like if we can take that and run it locally on my machine so that we can see how those patterns fare against each other and how they look on the UI. Is that something that people would be interested about?
Oh, let's do something like
a poll.
Oh, that's because a good one. I like that.
All right, yeah, make a little arrow if you want to see like all those different patterns. That means that I'm gonna drop this this whole older issue kind of thing, and I'm going to go with the local machine, file new project, and we're gonna visualize those projects from a local environment. We're gonna look at the different patterns.
Yeah,
because I can try to spend like an hour trying to fix those like quota problems and give like retry later kind of scenarios. But I feel that we would teach more if we would compare like those kind of running thing side by side. And bonus, I can use code for this because there's no problem in me using code for this.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, so nobody's voting, so let's go with what I want. So let's just do that. And before people think that I will forget, let's just recycle the key, say yes. Well, in wireless recycling,
you're recycling, but still
it took too fast. It took too fast. Let me take it off screen and recycle it again.
Or use Azure Mask.
And I have it installed on top of that. That's like so sad.
Azure Mask, for those who don't know, if you are presenting anything, it's a little raccoon that, like, it's an extension you install on your browser. It looks like a little raccoon on your top bar, and you click that, and it will just blur any private information inside the Azure portal, of course.
Yeah, toggle all mask, and there you go.
Boom.
Now I can recycle the keys. Technically, it's fine. Let's recycle number 2 as well.
And it's free. It's available on GitHub, and it was done by Clarkio, that you probably know on Twitch. Really handy when you're presenting.
Brian Clark.
What?
Brian Clark.
Yeah, but his Twitch handle is Clarkio.
Yeah. So let's reset those settings to the local development and storage so that we can do that later. And all right. And now if I go back home and I go to default application, I should not see the same one again. Yeah, it doesn't work. All right, fine. So we're going to be able to work with that, and we're going to start working on those basic patterns. So let's start with file new project. And oh no, we said we were going to use code. Sorry about that. So let's open a folder. And we're going to go into my C demos.
Are you on white mode?
And am I? I think I'm on a white mode. Stream demo 2. Let's do another one for fun. So,
okay, that's fine. Let's continue.
Yeah. Keep those sunglasses, man, because you're gonna freaking need it.
The problem, they are polarized, and with my new screen, I will need to be on the side to see it.
It's the MS-DOS. MS-DOS.
Oh.
Right. I do have the hot dog stand. Yeah, no, that thing is just like outrageously. All right, let's do Dark Visual Studio because apparently you need sunglasses or something. All right, so we have our stream demo. So we're gonna start with a little Azure icon here that I got by installing a few Azure extensions. The thing is, I got storage, I got logic apps, I got like integration accounts, app service. But the only one that really matters here today is the Azure Functions one. So we can use a whole bunch of those different elements here, but we want to use a create new project. And I'll see if I can create a .NET project out of there. Or we can use Node. Anybody up for Node? Anybody want to do Node?
I can. I won't be able to help you, but that's fine. It's not true. I start doing Node. I start doing a little bit more Node now. I'm doing Node on Fridays.
You're doing Node on Fridays. All right, so let's do JavaScript, and we'll see how it goes. So there was a whole bunch of different elements here. So the first thing we want to do, as always with everything else, we want to do, we need an HTTP starter. Then we need an orchestrator, and then we need an activity. So let's do HTTP starter, and we're going to be calling this one demo HTTP start. All right, so this is going to start. We're going to get a whole bunch of different stuff here. It's going to try to start an orchestrator that has a name and the parameter. So it's just going to be weird a little bit. So let's do functions, create function. This time we need an orchestrator. We're going to call this demo orchestrator. Or you know what? Let's do chaining orchestrator. All right, it is not chaining right now, but we're going to be doing that. Actually, it is chaining. Let's do another one. They're calling it hello. You know what? I love say hello better. So let's name it that way. And we need another function, and this time we're going to go with activity. Say hello. Super simple. I love Microsoft, even if just for TypeScript and GitHub. Let's see. You should look at everything Microsoft Research does. Like, there is stuff in there that we don't even advertise, and it's even. Yeah, I know, but TypeScript breaks my brain, and I don't want to have my brain broken just yet because I'm trying to. I'm trying to be like. I want to make sense with durable functions.
IntelliSense.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, IntelliSense.
IntelliCode, and I'm getting like blasted by chat right now. So, what am I doing? Yeah. So chaining orchestrator. Let's just keep the name of the chaining orchestrator in the copy paste and just do F5. And we're going to use a local emulator for this one. So if we're looking at my local emulator, let's just we're closing everything else. Let's look at storage account, emulator, table. Let's do a refresh here. We should have no instances running here, except the one that we may just start. All right. Would like a chatty chat. No, so you can blast me in the chat. Like, this is for me all part of the fun.
Well, it's a friendly zone, but like, yeah, you could roast a little bit, Max, of course.
I can be roasted. Like, that's not too much of a problem.
Well, like, it's true that like I'm learning Node and stuff, but I miss my strong type and the IntelliSense and everything. I'm on purpose not doing TypeScript because I want to learn how it works. So when I will feel a little bit more comfortable, then I will switch probably to TypeScript, like on my own personal learning. So I can understand why they're saying like, hey, TypeScript, but
wow.
And also when you try to explain stuff, it had a level of complexity or abstraction, should I say? So.
Yeah, so next time I should go all in on TypeScript. So that's the best way for me not to get roasted is to go on TypeScript.
Go Rust.
My name is Rouiller, which translates directly to Rust.
Oh, that's true. You should be the
so
Rust
it's kind of weird
with,
for me to use Rust all the time.
With Ryan? Is it Ryan in the cloud advocate?
Yeah, Ryan. Yeah.
I was
so,
not sure
by the way,
if
you didn't
Ryan
see what I just
Ryan.
did, I was missing. I was missing a dependency. You have to install durable functions for this to run properly, and just adding those elements does not make a durable function available. So, like I said, durable function is just an extension on top of a function. So if we don't install the package, it kind of just doesn't work. So we need to install it, and now it should properly see all of them, all those functions. Yeah, they're being seen now. So we're able to use this, and so let's just open up the browser, and this time use this localhost 7071/API/orchestrator/chaining orchestrator, and we're going to see it live going on here. All right, so we can look at the status, and that's basically like it's a demo you see 1,000 times in all those demos everywhere, right? You say like Tokyo, Seattle, hello, and like London, we're all good. Yeah, hashtag boring. Let's see if we can get this thing running. Application controller, table exists. Am I on the right one? I just want to make sure I'm having the right settings here. Test hub name. Right. And let's see if we can get this storage explorer right here. Test hub name. That should be good. It's all there. It's still failing. Should the authorization header is formed correctly, including the signature. True function instance table does not exist. Right? Ozzy, shame on you, man. Like, TypeScript and GitHub, and you totally forgot VS Code. Like, unacceptable. Like, that's horrible, man. You forgot the best part. All right, so let's restart this application. I think it might just have bugged out due to the fact that I changed the connection string midway. Let's see if I can make it pop again.
I'm not sure. Do you know about the private plugin for Visual Studio Code?
If you're meaning all the private, let me see.
Propriety? Like if you want to sell an extension? Your company ABC and you would like to sell something? Is it what you're asking, Riku? Riku, no?
Yeah, because private plugins is like the things that you want to install yourself, which you can totally do. You can install your own plugin. You have your own packages you can install. I don't know if we have like kind of a marketplace where you can install them that are just private. I don't know about that. So I have a weird problem here where this app setting is not getting updated. So let me just clear my storage and let's do storage emulator. If you're ever in need, if you're using a storage emulator on Windows, you can use a shortcut. Just type in to look for the storage emulator. You can use storage emulator clear all, and that will, for all intended purposes, just blast away everything that is right there. So there's no more tables, there's no more blob or queues, and us just running this function again should recreate the whole thing.
Was it in two phase, clear and then all, or clear all and it just like
in two phase, clear and all?
Okay. I don't use
like
much the emulator. Most of the time I'm connected to a real storage.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I try to use the emulator most of the time because there are scenarios where you don't want to be necessarily on Azure. You want to just test it out. And as soon as you're on Azure, of course, you need an account, you need a credit card, and you need like a whole bunch of different stuff. And like not everyone has an account. So there's a few scenarios where the emulator just not quite works the way that I wanted to. But most of the time it's fine. So it should be fine now, right? So let's reopen the window. I think this thing just broke. Since TypeScript is awesome, does Microsoft have React in Node.js position? I don't know about React, but I know that we do have like Node.js.
We have people who code React all the time. And Vue and like last week, was it last week? Yeah, last week and the week before, like it was all about different JavaScript framework. I mean, I talked with John Papa. I think we deploy in like 5 different JavaScript framework, some static website. And last week with Tyranny, we started building an app in Node and deploying in different way in Azure. And like Tyranny, he's always doing Node. I think he's still on the board.
Yeah, and here's something that somebody built at Microsoft, like this user called Scale Tone. If we're looking at this, that's one thing that, by the way, is under my eyes. It's a cool project. His name is Konstantin Lipinchkov, I think. I'm very bad at pronouncing names, but he works at Microsoft out of Oslo, and he created this amazing tool called Drillable Functions Monitor, and it's basically the drillable function thing that I was running earlier. You know, with the URL and the status, like this thing here, when you're trying to monitor this kind of like orchestrators and stuff, he created it out of like, he created a UI for it, and this thing is built using React, if I remember correctly, right? React, yeah. There's React. There's a React component. There's the .NET backend. There's a whole bunch of different stuff in there. So if you want to look like how he does this, it's a fun project to look at. Do you mind pasting that into the chat, maybe? Or can I paste it into the chat?
No, but paste it in our chat and I will repaste it.
I tried. Let's see if I get kicked out.
No, like it's automatically translate to star. Paste it in Skype. I will.
Oh, god dang it! Sorry, I blew away the shared screen. I'm sorry about that.
Did you?
Yeah. I brought it back though.
Hey, it's up now.
Okay.
I was not.
Didn't do anything. You're not looking at anything then.
I didn't look at it, so.
All right, so we started this thing. Let's see if the other project kind of work. Here. Let's start without debugging again. That's the reason why I'm not a moderator on this chat.
You need to come more often.
Yeah, I do. So let me see if this thing can be resolved real quickly. Dribble function hub. All right, that's the one we want. Dribble functions hub. So that's the reason why it was not working. So let's stop this project and do dribble functions hub and recompile and refresh. So by the way, this project is still in beta. It's going to be on GitHub. I want it to exist on GitHub as a proof of concept. All right, we have our chaining orchestrator. That's the thing that we were looking at. And if we're looking at the visualization of this, you get this. Like, let me zoom in because this one is worth zooming in a little bit. So the blue is going to be when the orchestrator starts. The orange is when it stops. And by the way, the length of it, I just put like half a second. But the thing is, I don't know how long it lasts. So that's the reason. Consider this as a point in time instead of just the wideness of it of having any importance. So it started here, ended up there, but then we scheduled the task. So we scheduled the task, and this one was say LO0, and it completed right after. So after that, the orchestrator picked it back up and scheduled the next one automatically, and you get this nice like staircase of thing going on, right? So that is one way to look at all those chaining. But what you can see also is that between when the time the orchestrator complete and it starts again, it's basically empty. So this function is not running. So it's only running a few seconds here and there. It's just like in sequence, it's just running a few seconds, and then at the end here, the execution is complete. So we can do now the next pattern. So let's do another orchestrator this time. And let's just close our application for now. And then we're going to do another one. It's going to be the same concept. But this time we're going to do the function orchestrator. And we're going to do fan out, fan in orchestrator. So let me see if I can zoom in a little bit.
Control Shift Plus.
Control Shift Plus? Like, do I have to use a keyboard? Are we living in the Stone Age? Come on, man. Oh God. Yeah, I think you got all of them all at the same time or something. Anyway, is that too much or is good?
Well, if you make like that, it's cool.
Let me just so we have a few orchestrator here on the side. We have our function here. I can just like lower it down. We don't need it that bad. So here we can see the yield, which would be just a wait in C#, or just like waiting on each other until all this is done. So how do we take all this and put it into the proper outputs? We
got another raid.
Another raid.
Another raid. Lana Lux is raiding us with a party of 173.
Things are not getting out of control.
Exactly. Raid. Welcome, raiders. Let's go. Let's go side by side, just for the welcoming. Welcome, raiders. We're doing Azure durable function with this guy over there, Maxime Rouiller, and he's showing us his code right now. We just jump in Visual Studio Code. We're looking at different architecture and see the impact on a visual tool. So welcome, everybody. Welcome. How was your stream, Lana? Were you doing some Unity today? Let's jump. on the code.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the code here.
Sharing back your screen.
So that's the basic chaining function that they provide all the time, and it's kind of like, okay, so how do we take this and put it into a fan out, fan in, right? So we have those activities that are going to be calling, but the thing is, we're going to be removing those output. And the things I want to do task, because the outputs are still going to matter, but I'm interested into those 3 tasks, and I don't want to yield. I want to store them, because I want to make sure that they're only going to be we're going to be calling them all at the same time, and we're going to be wanting to do a context.df task dot, I think it's wait all. Yeah, just all. We have to wait until all those tasks here are done. So I think it's yield. And then here we're gonna have to take the result of all those tasks and basically just create our outputs. So I have no clue what's the good way to do this. So let's do the first one. Let me see the result. Yeah. So this is going to be so bad. People are gonna love it, because I'm going to be trolling people at that point. Like, at that point, it's called trolling, right? Is that trolling, or is it like very bad? I know that code is like terrible. So you know what? We're gonna go with, he did it on purpose. See you later, Gregory. Thanks for coming by, man. All right. So basically, I could loop through all those tasks and just put them into the output, or I could use Lodash and do something with that as well. Still fine. But so what we just did here is that all those functions are going to be called not at the same time, but they're all going to be scheduled to start at the same time. And since we're locally on our machine, that means that they're going to be running sequentially. However, if you get into the cloud and that number of activities get high enough, what's going to happen in the end is, as more activities get queued, the consumption plan is going to start scaling based on the amount of element in the queue. And what that's going to mean is more machines are going to be assigned to process this. So that's one of the different reasons why you want to do consumption and not app service.
Oh, we have a question from Serota Cyclist. Was asking, durable mean what?
It's a good question. So durable means that those orchestration, basically, those results stays even after technically the host is down or everything is down. It means that whatever we're doing right now does not have to be stateless.
Like if we do a step back, because maybe just join, I don't know when you join. So Azure Function is part of the serverless offer of Microsoft. It means it run only when you're asked for it. Like if you're hit, let's say it's a HTTP call, so it's not running, you call it, it will run for like a second, then it will just go up, run a second, and go down, and you will be charged for 1 second. But there's some limitation, so you cannot do long process and stuff like that. So durable function, it's an extension on the function to play with the architecture and extend how you can fan out and different way your process.
It allows you to create workflows, basically.
Yep.
That's what we're doing here. Like we're invoking a whole bunch of activities all at the same time, which should be, by the way, say hello. So we're not. Otherwise, this thing is going to break as soon as we start it. Let's restart it. So that basically allows you to do a whole bunch of different patterns. So you can say, let me just call 100 activities and only resume this function when all of them have been completed. Or you could even wait for specific events that are coming in from somebody else or in a different service. So you can literally have a function just waiting there forever until somebody press a button, and then you can do something. Or you can just chain those functions one after the other and just guarantee that they're not running like 100 times. I'm hearing water.
Okay, I'm not peeing. I'm filling my.
All right. So, are we good in terms of restarting this? F5. Is it running? It's weird.
I did try to be quiet, but yeah, I should have.
Yeah,
I'm always. Oh, you know what? Let's do a test since I'm comfortable with you, Max.
And how many speakers there? How many people are in the chat?
I will mute myself. I want to know if you're still hearing Max. So Max, you should just continue to talk.
Me? I will all. Yeah. Yeah, I'm hearing you. I can hear you just as well, but that would look weird, man.
So
make me
could
say
you
things
hear me?
Weird. I hear you, yeah.
No, yes, Max, but the chat. I think if I do that, the chat stop hearing me, but they still hear you.
Yeah, okay, so they
don't hear you right. Too. No, just Max. Okay.
Yeah, so you're doing exactly what you wanted to do. And,
okay. Cool.
For Noob Alert, is that inside of an Azure VM? No, this is inside my own machine, but you could use basically the same thing within code space. Am I right, Frank?
Yep.
So, yeah. So, did you unmute yourself, by the way? Just so that people are not, like, going crazy? Okay, good. All right, let's just do our little fan-out, fan-in orchestrator here. That should work. And we can get the same status URI to see if this thing works. But like we saw earlier, like this thing is like so much cleaner that we're going to be using this again. So let's just refresh that page. Technically, somebody's saying here that they don't hear you. So let's do a refresh. And we have our fan out, fan in orchestrator here. And we can see that, oh, it is completed. So let's click on it and let's see how it goes, right? And how much of a difference is that, right? Let's compare that. Let's duplicate the tab. Let's go back one. And let's go on the chaining orchestrator.
And now everything is running from your machine, right?
UI. Yeah, everything's running from my machine.
Oh, that's why it's a little bit slower, because it's just a regular dev machine. Or a laptop even? Is it a PC or it's a laptop?
Laptop.
Your machine?
Yeah, my machine is a laptop, so that thing is the reason why this thing is like so slow, because we're streaming at the same time and we're doing screen captioning.
I'm streaming, but you're just using Skype.
My machine is like freaking hot like a volcano right now. Like that machine is not my best machine. I need to build a new machine.
Even think if you were really like, though you're sharing your screen, so you are streaming kind of.
All right. So what we can see here on the right was our chaining functions, right? We're chaining function 1 to function 2 to function 3, and you see this nice little by the green steps here. You see like they're all being scheduled one after the other. But what if you do the fan out, fan in? Well, they're all being chained all at the same time. So as soon as the orchestrator finishes, this whole thing gets scheduled right away, and they finish it in different orders. And they are being compiled after that right here, and they return the result. Let's take a look at the result. You can do it here. And we have Hello Tokyo, Seattle, and London. We have the same thing. Because we know all those functions were called in a specific order, but they are going to be executed in different orders. So when the order does not matter, you can do that. And technically, I don't know if we have a runtime on this, but doing that in parallel is technically going to be always faster than doing them in sequence. Always depend on the workload, but it kind of gives that feeling. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes, it does. It's cool to visualize the difference.
I think it is cool. I mean, we could try other patterns as well.
But not today, I think.
No, I don't think. How much time do we have left?
5 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, God, 5 minutes. All right. Durable functions. Let's go into our docs real quick. For those people that are wondering, what is Azure Function itself?
We'll be able to have you back again, Max, and continue.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that would be so fun. There are all those application patterns at the bottom here, and you can look at them. Like we did function chaining, and we saw how it behaved. We did a fan out, fan in, and we have, by the way, sample code like that, which are much better at doing the things that I did. But we could also try to do like those, not async HTTP we did, but we could try like those monitor ones. We could try this human interaction so we can see like when does like those events are coming in. So there's multiple ways that you can basically build your application in crazy ways that will make those things even better. And by the way, we're still running functions, which means we're still running serverless, which means we're still running at like pennies on the dollars kind of like price. So yeah, you can build like very imaginative way of solving problem with this thing. It is kind of a persistent state, man. Or throughout a cyclist. I don't know if you're a man or a woman, or I don't care. Like this is the thing is, this thing allows you to store the state of your execution at the moment that you're running, and it's amazing. Because you don't have this whole stateful stuff that you have to bind to all the time with other platform on serverless or stuff that are not durable, because you're saving that state all the way through. And in the previous talk, we talked about this event sourcing, because all those tables that we saw here, those history, they're basically building up the states of your function. Like, oh, here's where we are in terms of state, and we can just start on rebuilding this whole thing. And that's exactly what it is doing, is that it's rebuilding the state from the hub history. It's wondering where were we at that point in time, and it can basically resume the code in the orchestrator exactly where it was in exactly the right state, just because we have this storage working in the back. Like I said, it is an extension on top of Azure Functions, but it's a very, very smart extension. It's not just enabling like triggers and bindings. It is more complex, and it solves so many problems that normally would require you to build like a container and get like those massive amount of code. Like all those code that depends on the tables and those queues and the blob containers, you don't have to code that. We have unit tests for those. What happens if the storage fails? We handle that. You don't have to. So all those problems are abstracted away so that you can focus on the code, deliver value, and just have fun. I'm having so much fun with that product, by the way.
And if you want to continue to learn more about durable function until we get Max back on the show, you can follow him. You can see his Twitter account on top of his frame right now. We are in the side-by-side view, Max.
Yeah.
Don't dab on the show. Like,
I'm not dabbing, I'm coughing. Yeah, I have a Twitter account, and also if you're all are into corgis, I'm using the Windows Terminal. And did you know that Windows Terminal can have animated GIF as background?
Oh, they don't see your. Let me reshare your screen.
Oh, I can do it in metal like that. Like, you can do like corgis in the background. And wait up, you can, if you didn't know that, you can basically split the screen. So you can have multiple corgis. Like, seriously, multiple corgis.
But Max, we need to go now. So thank you, Max, for being again on the show, teaching us everything about durable function. It was really, really appreciated. Thank you for all of you in the chat to spend time with us. And it's not the thing I usually do on this channel, but today I will raid someone because it's been a while. Oh, apparently I cannot. Oh yeah, I can do that. I decide I can. We'll go see Bald Bearder Builder. Like, it's super hard to say his name, so send him some love. And until then, I would say bye-bye, everybody.
Goodbye.